These are all really tough acts to follow. How do I? Oh. Okay. So the first time that I would ever contemplate the concepts of race or systematic oppression would be in my sophomore year world history class with Ms. Tanya Cepeda, as you first saw depicted on the screen. Before her class, I knew race was a problem like many, but I never really understood the in-depth correlation it had with my own life and of my peers. Her class completely changed the way I saw the world. It was in her class that I began to contemplate questions like, why is my high school so segregated despite it being one of the most diverse in the nation? Why do I tend to be the only African American student in my honors and AP level courses? When walking home, why is it that European American students go one way and African American students walk the other? Fast forward a year or so when I slowly began to really understand the racial constructs of our society and how they affected me. All of this knowledge led me to go natural and cut out my relaxer and wear my natural hair, the hair that God gave me. Ironically, my hair is straightened today. But all of this knowledge and understanding and starting conversations with my classmates and realizing it wasn't just me experiencing this, realizing that other students were doubted by their teachers when they were the only African American in the classroom. I wasn't the only one dealing with ignorance from my peers about racial issues. The daily microaggressions that minorities face is not uncommon. And so as I began to have this conversation, Bella, who's in the back, we both decided to start a club called Melanin Minds. And in this club, we started to initiate a dialogue about racial issues and really try to understand the source of the issues, but also just a place to vent and talk about it. Because for a long time, I thought I was alone. And having that place to just discuss comforted me and gave me strength to go through my day. And so as we began to talk about these issues, we realized we didn't just want to talk about them, we wanted to make change, we wanted to make strides to changing this, that we could change the context in which we grew up in. And so we kind of shifted from an African American culture club to a social activism club. And we heavily encouraged having a diverse group. When we first started, our group was only African Americans because we were talking about issues that African Americans face, and so it felt uncomfortable for other students, European Americans majorly, to be amongst us and talking about that. But as we shifted towards social activism and understanding the history of racism and how we can change it, we realized that we needed other students. We needed European Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans engaged in the conversation. And so today we have a solid 15 to 30 students come every week of all different ethnicities engaging in the conversation and trying to come up with solutions. And so we didn't just want to have our weekly meetings, we also moved out to the rest of our high school. We didn't want to just reach the 30, and then we even reached into our community. We had a political awareness day on the day of Trump's inauguration, in which we encouraged students to be politically active. We asked students, do you know who your congressmen are, who your senators are? And most of them, quite frankly, none of them knew. And that is a very dangerous thing, because those are the ones who are voting for us and making decisions. And so we've really just worked to make our students politically active, despite of the political lines that they may have. And so even in our club, we have Trump supporters, in our past election, different supporters of different representatives coming and engaging in the conversation. We've met with other high schools. We've met with other high schools. Also, this was at our church event, so we went to different churches, and we've engaged our adults in our community about the conversation and what we're doing. This was our political awareness day, where we had everyone dressed in black, and you'll see the Get Woke sign in the back. That's our big advocating point. This is one of our weekly meetings. And so one of the biggest accomplishments that we've been able to do was get our curriculum changed. Our high school is lucky enough to have an African American elective course, but we got it changed so that it would also be an actual history course, and then an honors level and an A-level course. And so that's something that's going to be implemented next year. We've been going to school board meetings every month, and so now we're getting more African American history incorporated, in our U.S. history curriculum so that we can change the narrative and really get more kids involved in the race conversation so that we can try and deconstruct these barriers. And so as I leave, and I'm running out of time, I'm just so humbled and honored to be here and to hear all these great thinkers. It's truly inspiring and encouraging as I continue to do the work. And so as I conclude, I just leave you with this quote from Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that has. Thank you.